Postcards from Greece with Father Peter Alban Heers. Father Peter is the founder of Uncut Mountain Press and the rector of the parish of the Holy Prophet Elias in a small village in the mountains outside of Thessalonica, Greece. In this podcast, Father Peter shares with us his 10 years of experience of living the faith and serving the church in Greece. Here's Father Peter.
One of the goals, one of the purposes of this program, of these postcards from Greece, is to communicate to you, our brothers and sisters in America and abroad in the English-speaking world, the experiences, the insights and spiritual lessons that we've been witness to and blessed with over our 10 years here in Greece. And one of those developments that certainly has been a great benefit to me personally, but also is of great interest to our church in America and in North America, is the rise in the veneration of one of our own holy men here in Greece. Over the last 10 years, we've seen a great rise, a great interest in the writings and the life of Father Seraphim Rose here in Greece. When I first came to Greece in 1998, it was hard to find a person who knew who Father Seraphim Rose was. It was a rare occasion to find somebody who had been exposed to the writings of the life of Father Seraphim. But over the last, especially the last 6 to 7 years, since the book The Soul After Death was first translated, and then the life of Father Seraphim now has been translated in full and is circulating, but also his other books such as Orthodoxy and the Religion of the Future and Revelation of God to the Human Heart, and other books such as The Life of St. John of Shanghai and San Francisco. Since these developments and others which I'll tell you about, we've been inundated with questions and supplications of simple faithful here in Greece that we tell them something about the life of Father Seraphim, the monastery of St. Herman, or other aspects of the life in America, the church in America. And there are many stories that we could relate to you because we've been blessed to be a part of the translation and distribution and publication of the life of Father Seraphim and his writings, as well as been a part of the publicity surrounding the books that have been published here in Greek. We had the blessing to be one of the organizers of a speaking tour of Father Damascene when he came in Athens and Thessaloniki and spoke about the first volume of the life of Father Seraphim. And since that time, we've also been blessed to give talks on the life of Father Seraphim here in Greece. And it is amazing to witness the joy and the interest of the Greek faithful in the life of Father Seraphim, and especially his writings, beginning with the book The Soul After Death. And I'll tell you some of the stories that we've been witness to and been told firsthand. Back in 2002, 2003, I was approached by a young Greek man here in Thessaloniki who, on his own volition, and decided to translate together with many other young students at the university, the life of St. John of Shanghai and San Francisco, Man of God, published by Nicodemus Publications. And because they had reached an impasse as to the publication of the book, they gave me the book and asked me to bring it to publication, bring it to be printed. And so then I came into contact with a young man, a new zealot in the faith, who had in later years, in his 20s, become a conscious Orthodox Christian in Athens, Nicholas Karelis, who had previously opened a bookstore, not unlike Father Seraphim and Father Herman in San Francisco, and was very zealous in distributing the lives of the saints and writings of the saints, of the contemporary saints. Well, he told me the following story about the publication. His Mirovivlos Publications was the publishing house that published The Soul After Death. And he told me the following story about how that came about. The bookstore had not been open too long in Athens, and a man came into the store and showed in English the book Soul After Death, and for about a half an hour, pleaded with Nicholas, although Nicholas had not published any books up to that point, pleaded with Nicholas, you must publish this book. You must translate and print this book in Greece. Is an imperative that this happen. And the man left the store, left the book with Nicholas, and never showed up again. That was the last time that Nicholas saw the man. Well, it really left a great impression on Nicholas, and he approached some spiritual fathers that he knew in Athens and asked them about the book, and others said, yes, it's a fine book, you should definitely publish this. And another man said, yes, I will translate the book. And little by little, a very fine publication went to press. And since then, since about 2002-3, it's gone into 10 printings in Greece. I think about 25,000 books have been printed and sold and distributed all over Greece. Though the book Orthodox Religion of the Future had already been translated, it really did not see a wide distribution. This book was the first that saw tremendous distribution in Greece, and people became very interested in Father Seraphim after that. Well, when I met Nicholas, I approached him about publishing the life of St. John of Shanghai in San Francisco, and at the same time really counseled him that I think he had great desire to translate and publish other books by Father Seraphim, and I suggested that he start with the life of Father Seraphim. And thanks be to God, after several years and much struggle and good work on the part of many, including some monks on Mount Athos, the whole life of Father Seraphim has been printed in 3 volumes, and has been well received in Greece, and is in second and third printings. And it was on the occasion of Father Damascene's arrival in Greece that we had the opportunity to travel to Athens and present the book to the Greek press and the ecclesiastical press in Athens, and the first volume, and again here in Thessaloniki on 2 or 3 different occasions, and in other parts of northern Greece, where it was very well received. And since that time, there have been others who have taken interest in the writings of Father Seraphim, and now the book on Blessed Augustine is about to be published, be printed, as well as his books on Genesis and early man. And so, in a very small amount of time, in just a few years, the veneration and the love of Father Seraphim Rose has spread throughout Greece. People are really showing great interest in what he has to say, and I've been made privy to and become friends with people in other parts of the Balkans, in Serbia, in Romania, where they've told me as well that the same phenomenon is happening and has happened perhaps even earlier in Serbia with the writings of Father Seraphim. So much so that when I was in Serbia just a few years ago, it made a great impression on me to see that Father Seraphim was, by many young people especially, really considered to be a saint. And they had icons made of him, and they considered that he was a holy saint of the church, a holy man of the church. And it came to mind the words of the Lord: a prophet is not received in his own country, that he has no honor in his own country. Father Seraphim in America, although venerated by many, and we've read about many miracles associated with his life, especially after his repose, there are still many in America who see Father Seraphim's writings, especially on the soul after death, as controversial or just plain wrong. Whereas here in Greece, a traditional Orthodox country, we see that this book, the Soul After Death, has been the most positively received of all the books Father Seraphim has written. Really, there's no controversy surrounding, as far as I am aware of, in Greece. In fact, in our own diocese here, a new book has just been published by the Protosyngolos, the second after the bishop, on the soul after death, and he extensively cites Father Seraphim's writings and appeals to his authority on the subject of the soul after death, which is quite remarkable. That this young American convert has now become an authority for Greek archimandrites and clergy here in this Orthodox country of 2,000 years. There are many stories one could tell about the spread of the veneration of Father Seraphim here in Greece. I was just contacted a few days ago by a very zealous couple here who have done a number of translations into English. She's a Greek-speaking woman, but grew up in New York, and he's a teacher of English here in Thessaloniki. And they've done translations and publications, and they contacted me and asked that I pass on a number of names of their family to be prayed for by the monks in Platina. And they told me how much love they have for Father Seraphim, and that they have read the book a number of times, The Life of Father Seraphim, a number of times, so much so that they feel like they've come to know Father Seraphim personally. And such stories are many here in northern Greece, at least in my experience, that there's no second thought. When they encounter Father Seraphim, they encounter his life, his writings, his teachings, they immediately accept him as an authority, as a conveyor of the holy tradition, as a intercessor before God, tremendously moved by his conversion, by his ascetic life, and by his dedication to Christ and the Church. And it should be for us in America a source of great joy, encouragement, and also a great lesson, because Father Seraphim chose an orthodoxy, a version of orthodoxy, let's say, I would say the version of orthodoxy which is most true to the tradition and most akin to the Orthodox faith and life that one encounters here in the old country. And this is shown to be his decision and his life and his way of living the Orthodox faith have proven to be actually authentic and accepted as authentic by the faithful, the clergy of many, many Orthodox places and countries. First of all, Russia, but also now in Greece and Serbia and Romania and Georgia, all around the Orthodox world. And it should be, as I said, a great source of joy and encouragement for us as Orthodox Christians in America, a great example for us, that one of our own has reached the heights of spirituality and has shown to be a Holy Father in our own day, in spite of those who might disagree in America, or who might point to aspects of Father Seraphim's teachings that they consider to be problematic or erroneous. At the end of the day, the Church, the faithful, allows to feel the people of God will have their say, and it is apparent, at least here in Greece, that they are accepting and rejoicing in the life of Father Seraphim, his witness, his teachings, and to the glory of God, the Church continues to produce saints, even in far-off California, which is not known for its holy places. But we do, in fact, have in our own day 2 holy men from California, St. John and Father Seraphim, who are intercessors before God and examples for us all. Amen.
You've been listening to Postcards from Greece with Father Peter Alban Heers, founder of Uncut Mountain Press and rector of the parish of the Holy Prophet Elias in the mountains outside of Thessalonica, Greece. This is a listener-supported presentation of Ancient Faith Radio.